Okay, here we go. Now, again, today, very simple, very simple. Those of you guys who kind of had a little bit of questions with solving equations, this will help out tremendously. All right, it's like a second chance to learn solving equations. All right, so if there was any ever doubts, all right, then today will help you out a bunch. All right, and some of you guys didn't start out so great, so that's where part of the weakness is. And remember what I tell you about being good at numbers means moving things around in your head. That's what I'm really concentrating on for the next like 7 or 8 days. All right, understanding numbers better. That's crucial. All right, now, again, we won't be graphing anymore after today, just simply because it's too easy. All right, tomorrow I'm going to introduce interval notation, and that's pretty much the standard for all higher level math. You don't write on a number line anymore. All right, but on SATs, some of your ERBs, some of those types of things, they might ask you specific questions. Now, for me, everything is logical. So some of the 8th graders forgot what an inequality sign meant or even was, or what direction do you go? All right, so I can understand it's been a while. So if you don't know something, speak up. And that's where some of you guys have made a difference. You started doing better, participating. And I've always said, if you want to get better, you got to be involved. I can't be the one. All right, you got to care about your grade more than me. So with that, here we go. Graphing, x is greater than -3. So this is my expectation for x greater than -3. First, I always tell kids, put the answer and put the opposite on the number line. All right, I'm not going to make you write -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. Just put 2 numbers down. So I know you know the difference between a negative and a positive. All right. So if you're greater than -3, are you equal to -3? No, since you're not equal to, what's the first number greater than -3? Someone else, say it again. Exactly. All right, not -2. -2 is not the first number greater than -3. Is there a first number greater than -3? Is there a first number greater than -3? Definitely not, because you can always add a what? A 9. You can always add a decimal 9, right? So you can say -2.9, 2.99, and so on and so forth. That's the logic to this. So I open parenthesis or an open circle here. Now, why do we leave it an open circle? Because it's everything greater than -3, but not including -3. And then greater than is which direction? Obviously, it's to the right. Okay, greater than is to the right. I shouldn't have to explain that. Less than is where? To the left. All right, so now we're on number 2. Now, if x is greater than or less than or equal to 4, we're going to put -4 and we're going to put 4. So now, is 4 less than or equal to 4? Yes. So it requires a what? A solid dot. It requires a solid dot. And which direction are we going?
Left.
Left, because it's less than. Okay. What?
How can it be equal and less than the same time?
It's not. That's why there's a what there, an or statement. I didn't say less than 4 and equal to 4. I said less than or equal to. You have 2 choices. All right. So x is less than 7. So again, obviously we're going -7 and 7. What kind of closed or open? Open. There's no reason to guess. This is what I don't understand. There's no reason to guess. You either understand it or you don't. Are we including 7 in our answer?
Yes. No.
Do we include 7? Is 7 less than 7? So is it included? No. That's why it's an open circle. And then it's everything where? To the left. What? This is equal to 4, less than or equal to 4.
Is that what it is?
All those numbers are true. All of these numbers make the inequality true. All of these numbers make the inequality true. Everybody good? All right. So if I say X is greater than or equal to 0, so obviously I put a 0 down and I'm just going to put another number, 1. I don't care what number you put down. Greater than or equal to requires a what? Closed. Going in which direction?
Right.
To the right. It's really that simple. Right? It's really that simple. What?
If you put a negative behind the 0.
Put a negative behind the 0. Go ahead. I said it doesn't matter. Listen. All right, you're brilliant. If your ears would match your brilliancy, you'd be really smart. Seriously. All right, you got to listen. All right, I'm trying to make you brilliant, not just smart. All right, listen. What?
So would it be a closed dot because it's moving?
No, it's closed because it's what? Equal. It's closed because it's equal. It's closed because it's equal. It's open because it's either greater than or less than. So for example, this and this requires open circle. This and this requires a what? Closed. Now, again, I'm trying to explain to you, it's just logical to assume that. If I asked you to graph x equals 3, how would you graph x equals 3? You would put a solid dot at 3, correct? Because x is equal to 3. That's what you used to do. Think back in like first and second grade when you started the number line. And they said, where's -3? Or where's 3? You put a dot on 3, right? X equals 3. You put a dot on 3. Same principle here. If I say x equals 0, you put a dot at 0. If I say greater than, it's a what? Open circle, because it's not including 0. It's everything what? Greater than. All right. But in this case, it's greater than or equal to. So it's solid. All right. Solid. Now, if none of that makes sense to you, all right, if none of that makes sense to you, then this is what you write down and you just memorize. I would prefer that you not memorize. All right, but those are what we're doing. All right, now to show you how simple this actually is. All right, when we did this worksheet a long time ago, all I did was I went and I whited out the equals and put a what? An inequality. So you've done all these before. You've done them all before. It's just now there's a what? Inequalities and not an equal. Except you should be better at it. All right, am I putting a +3 down? No, I'm not putting +3. I'm writing down 1/4 x is greater than what? 5. Then I'm saying x is greater than what? 20. Everybody should be able to do that. And I know probably over half of you can look at that and just say, can I just write x is greater than 20? Yeah, do that. Just don't make a what? Just don't make a mistake. I want you to do that. That's amazing for some of you. All right. I want you to just tell me what the answer is. All right. So now you have to graph x is greater than 20. So I put -20 and I put 20. And what do we have? What do we have? Open circle at 20 going which direction?
Right.
All right. Now, I don't recommend this, but I had to show this to one of my 8th graders. So I'm going to show it to you to be fair. All right. This, watch, look how silly this is. This is the direction. If for some strange reason you don't know greater than is to the right and less than is to the left, you can just look at the inequality sign. And that'll tell you the direction of that you draw your arrow. All right, that doesn't make sense to me, but for those who don't know, greater than is going to the right and less than is going to the left. You could use that tool. All right. Now, again, we're on number 8. All right. So everybody should be able to look at number 8 and say, well, we're just going to multiply by the reciprocal. And so everybody, we don't need a calculator for this. We're practicing without a calculator. So we're going to say X is greater than or equal to it is negative 28. Thank you. X is greater than or equal to negative 28. So now what do? I come over here, put negative 28, and I put 28, and I have closed at negative 28 going in which direction?
Right. Oh, I see.
Okay, now because some of my 8th graders said that same exact thing, here we'll go. Look at this, guys. Honestly, here's how I remembered it. All right, I had trouble with my signs, less than, greater than, confusing. So my 7th grade math teacher showed me that's an L. L is less than. G is greater than. All right. I know you don't need it. I'm just saying for some of you who have little issues, the less than looks like an L. All right. Greater than looks like a G to me. All right. Doesn't have to you. I'm just saying that's something else that for those of you guys who struggle with, what does that inequality sign even mean? All right. That should help. All right. Now, number 10, I need to show you something. So everybody needs to put your pencil down and listen. So again, when I first started doing the inequalities, I literally laughed because I thought they were making math up because it doesn't make sense. All right. So watch. If I say 3 is greater than negative 2, we'd all agree with that, right? So if I add 1, does everybody agree 4 is still greater than negative 1? So I'm just trying to show you addition, right? The inequality stays true. Do you agree? So now if I subtract 2, 2 is greater than negative 3. Is that still true? So what I'm trying to demonstrate is when I add and subtract, the inequality still remains true. Do you agree? All right, so now I'm going to multiply by 3. 6 is greater than negative 9. So if I multiply by 3, is it still true? Yes. All right, so now I'm going to divide by negative 3. When I divide by negative 3, I get negative 2 is greater than 3. Is that true? It is no longer true. So I'm not making this stuff up. Does everybody agree with me? I'm showing you that's how they figured out. They're like, wow, we have inequalities. All right, we're learning it. Think back 1,000 years. All right, they didn't know what they were doing. So they decided to do inequalities. And all of a sudden they multiply and they went, well, that's no longer true. So in order to make it a true statement, what do I have to do to the inequality? Flip it, or you change it. Now, is it true? Yes. So there's one new rule for inequalities. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to switch the inequality. When you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to switch the inequality. Now, in a minute, the sign's going to change, and somebody's going to raise their hand and say, why did you change the sign? And I'm going to say, because you are daydreaming. That's why. All right. For no other reason, you're daydreaming. That's why you don't know. All right. So everybody got it. That's the only rule that's different. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative, you change the inequality sign. All right. So here we go. Back on track now. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is do what? Add 2. So now I get negative 5/8 V is less than what? 0. So now V is what? Greater than what? 0. Yes, V is greater than 0. Anybody have a problem with that? 0 times anything is still what? But when you multiplied it by a negative, you still had to change the inequality sign. That's exactly right. All right, so now here we go. We're at 0, 1, open circle, heading to the right. There you have it. Everybody good with this? Any issues? All right, stay with me. We've got a lot to do. All right, so now we have some decimals, which are no big deal to me. All right, I want everybody to do this. 2x is greater than, come on, practice your mental math. What is that? Negative, yes, negative 5.2. And so now we're just dividing by 2. So 52 divided by 2 is negative 2.6. That's not that hard. All right, you don't need a calculator for that. We're practicing without a calculator. All right, here we go. Here's negative 2.6. Here's 2.6. What kind of circle? Open, going to the right. Any issues? All right, here we go. 14. What do we want to do here? Say it again. Yes. So I want you to say negative 5x is greater than or equal to 25. So what? X is
Less than negative five.
less than or equal to negative 5. Everybody okay with that? So here we go. I've got negative 5 and 5. Solid going which direction? Left.
Does it matter if you go from a negative 5 to 5? Oh, never mind. That was some question.
Okay, here we go. What should I do first? No, divide by 2x minus 5 less than or equal to negative 7. 2x is less than or equal to,
Negative 2.
x is less than or equal to
1.
negative 1. All right, here we go. Anybody have any issues with that? All right, let's have some more fun. 18. Is there really anything I can do to simplify this? So here we go. 12x plus 24 is greater than or equal to 3x minus 6. So now again, you're practicing. You're not doing minus 3x and minus 24. You're just telling me the answer. How many x's? 9x is greater than or equal to negative 30. Now you're trying to do the fraction in your head. X is greater than or equal to negative 10 thirds. Right? 30 divided by 9. Anybody have any issues with that? Yes.
So do you just always like, for like 24 plus 6, you want to move the last number to the right?
Yeah. But remember, the main thing is if I'm moving the number over, it becomes negative 24, right? So negative 6 minus 24 is negative 30, right? And then if I move the 3, it's just saying 12 minus 3. That's how I'm hoping you do it. All right, so now the boring part, greater than or equal to negative 10 thirds. So I have negative 10 thirds, I have 10 thirds, I have greater than or equal to solid going to the right. Everybody good with that? All right, here we go. Now just do the whole thing in your head. Just try to practice doing the whole thing in your head. And just tell me R is what? No, R isn't. Thank you. R is less than -7. Now, again, remember, please practice, right? If you don't know, just tell me and I'll walk you through it. And eventually you'll start to do that. Is everybody good on that? Anybody have any doubts? All right, it's boring. All right. Just do the answer. Practice. All right, so I'm greater than or I'm less than -7. So what kind of dot? Open, going to where? Left. Any issues with 20? All right, here we go. Let's knock out 22. So what am I going to do first? Multiply by the reciprocal. So that would be what? 56. Thank you for practicing. Now what? What do we got? 57 is less than or equal to what? Okay, now here's something else that causes problems. So please look up on the board and just listen to me one time. All right, and then you can see, all right, this is how you remember these types of things. All right, does everybody agree? I want the X first, correct? So if I rewrite this, here's where the problem is. If 57 is less than or equal to X, that means X is what? Right, X is greater than or equal to 57. Now, if that's not so obvious to you, watch this. If I say 3 is greater than -2, if I want to write the -2 first, what do I do to the inequality sign? You turn it or you change it or you flip it, however you want. So it went from a greater than to a what? So you see what I'm saying? Sometimes you have a little issue. You're not 100% sure. All right. Do I change the inequality or do I not change the inequality? So you just make yourself up a problem and then you answered the question. All right. You see what I'm saying? You can ignore it. That's the problem I keep having. It's annoying. If I can sit up and ignore him, why can't you? I don't care if he falls back. All right. So what? Big deal. Right? I'm focused on math. That's all I care about. All right. That's what I want you to do. So greater than or equal to 57. So what kind of dot? Closed. And going which direction? To the right. Yes. I don't know what you mean. I'm on 22. You're asking me about something on 24. All right. Stop working ahead then. Or just solve the problem. Anybody have any questions on 22? No. All right. Now let's fix the typo in 24. Just make it less than or equal to. Now, what do I need to do on this problem? Add 4 and then divide by 6. That should all be mental. Add 4 becomes a what? Divide by 6 becomes a, then what? And it becomes, X is what? What is it? Less than or equal to 2. All right, now, again, that's how I hope you do it. Well, I just hope you go, wow, we can just work backwards on that. You add 4, divide by 6, then add 1. And that's how simple math is. If you're sitting there going, what is he doing? Raise your hand. Let me go backwards with you. Anybody have any issues? All right, so now we got to graph it. Here's -2 and here's 2. Less than or equal to is a solid going which direction? Left. Easy, easy, easy. All right, here we go with 26. All right, what do I need? Oh, let's just do the whole answer here. So let's multiply by the reciprocal and then what? And then subtract 2. So everybody multiply by the reciprocal and then subtract 2. Is that right? Anybody else get X is greater than 18? Wow, think back to what you first did when you're getting here. That's amazing. All right, that's what you're supposed to be saying. All right, mental math is super important. Super important. So we have X is greater than 18. So what are we looking at? What kind of dot? Open, then what? To the right. There you go. Simple as that. All right, here we go. Let's knock out 28. Everybody should just do the mental math on that. J is, I need the inequality sign, then I need the answer, David. What? 1. Brilliant. 1. J is what? Yeah, whatever the middle sign is, that's what I told you. If you don't having trouble, think of that as an L. That looks like an L. So what is that? Yeah, less than or equal to what? You got 1? What'd the girls get?
Oh, yeah, I got one.
1.
Well, I just found out how you want.
Because you do what? You add 3. What does that become? Then you divide by 2. Then you subtract 4. Hey, David, just relax. It's not a big deal. All right, it's not a big deal. All right, so J is less than or equal to 1. So now we're at 1 and we're at -1. Less than or equal to is a solid going in which direction? Left. All right, so 30. Is there anything I can do here? Can't really divide by 3 because then you would end up with an X divided by 3. That's a good thought, though. You with me on that? So now here's what I'm going to show you guys. Come on, look up on the board. All right, look up on the board. So if I distribute, how many X's do I get? 4X. That's what I want you to say. Now, again, from this perspective, I wouldn't try to do all the work in my head. I would just know that I have what? 4X. So I want everybody to write down 4X. Then I would say 3 times -6 is what? -18. So I'm going to save myself some time. So I'm just going to do what? 4X is less than or equal to what? 24. Right? Practice. And so now what? X is, don't tell me the answer. X is less than or equal to 6. Is everybody okay with that? Now, again, like I said, some of you are better at mental math. Some of you have some work to do. That's why we're practicing. What?
Wait, since you're dividing, I thought you would switch the thing.
What is the rule? Explain to me what the rule is again. What did you write down? Right, when you divide by a negative. So we have -6, we have 6. What kind of dot? Closed or solid, going in which direction? Left. There you have it. All right, next. Okay, so obviously now your homework is to do what? Yes, do the odds. All right, good job.